I've been giving some thought to these 15-minute cities. Now, as I think it's Jeff Buys Cars on Twitter described a litmus test for them. If it's such a good thing, then you should be putting in the infrastructure to encourage the 15-minute cities. If it's not good for us, then they'd be putting in the surveillance equipment and the means of fining and punishing us, which generally across the board, from what I've seen of them so far, seems to be the latter. That and of course the barriers and gates and controls as well. So I think he's sort of bang on the money with that one. But it's made me look back to a series which I'm not old enough to have seen first time round, called The Prisoner. Now, if you've never seen it, I thoroughly recommend you go watch it. I think it's on the ITV on demand things, the ITVX they call it these days. Anyway, go and give it a look. But just as a sort of brief précis, the concept of it is that you've got the lead character Patrick McGoohan, who resigns a job with where he's got hold of lots of top secret information, which the one side wants to keep to itself, and of course another side might want to extract. Of course, 1967, the Cold War was in full swing, so you would think it'd be about East and West, so which is not at all unreasonable. Now, he resigns his job and goes home, starts packing. You see this in the title sequence, and then the next thing you see is a gas coming through the keyhole into his flat. He passes out and he wakes up in this place, which is called the Village. Now, the Village is a place which he doesn't know where it is. It doesn't, as far as he's aware, it doesn't appear on any maps. But that's something that will come about in sort of later episodes. But anyway, on his arrival, of course, wakes up in an exact replica of his own flat and thinks he's at home. That's until he pulls the blinds and sees a completely different vista outside. Instead of central London, is in fact Port Merion in Wales. A very beautiful place, but that's another story. Anyway, he then sets out to explore his surroundings and sort of runs into, sort of sees a cafe about to open and asks one of the staff where he is. To which, of course, the response is, "Well, we're in the village. Can I get a car?" No, there's taxis, local service only. All right, then. What about a telephone? Oh, public phone over there. That goes over, picks up the phone, and sort of, what number is this? What exchange is this? To which the response is, "What's your number?" "I haven't got a number." "No number, no call." Phone goes dead. Then goes over to, it's something I can remember having in our local town. Is it's like a map, a sort of a kiosk thing with a map on it, and you could press different buttons, and it would light up where this thing was. So, like in the case of where I lived, so I thought, the public library. Press the button, and a light would light up on the map to show you where it was. In this case, of course, it's the village. And sort of presses a few buttons, and there's a button for taxi. Presses that, and whoop, taxi arrives. And sort of questions are duly asked. Where am I, and all the rest of it. Where can I go? It's like local service only. You can go anywhere you like, so long as you end up back here when you're finished. Is there a self-drive? No, you can't have a car. And so, having sort of had a ride around the village in the taxi, was not having any money. As it turns out, later on you'll find out that money doesn't exist in the village. You have a credit card, which is In 1967, you sort of punch off different squares like a bus conductor would a ticket. Once you've punched out all your squares, that's your lot for the week. So there's another thing which could be heading our way with digital currencies, etc. You see where this is leading. Anyway, sees the village shop, goes into the shop. Of course, everything is village food, village this, village that, village the other, and comes the shopkeeper sort of serves him. So, right, have you got a map of the area, please? Yep, local map. Would you like colour or black and white? Colours, colours more expensive. So I'll have the black and white one. Opens the map and it shows a map of the village so you've got all the layout of the village, and then to one side of it the mountains, to the other side of it the sea. It's not quite. Have you got a larger map? Oh yes, only in colour though, so much more expensive. Doesn't matter. Gives him the map, opens it up. Sure enough, it's just a larger version of the same thing in colour. No, you seem to misunderstand. I wanted sort of a larger area, not a larger map. No demand for that sort of thing here, sir. So, as you can see, you've got sort of the makings of the 15-minute city in 1967. And so, anyways, I won't go any further with that particular episode. Go into the second episode, which was called The Chimes of Big Ben. You find him talking to the leader of the village, number 2. He's been assigned number 6, and we never do get to find out who number 1 is throughout the series. So what are your ambitions? And number 2 says, my ambition is for the whole world to be like the village. Yep. 15-minute cities, the whole world. In 1967. Patrick McGoohan was a visionary man, wasn't he? And so you go into other episodes like Free for All, where there's faked and rigged elections, A Change of Mind. You've got the forced medical intervention, where it's all about inclusiveness and community spirit, and anyone who's an individual is declared as unmutual and will then be recommended for instant social conversion, which is like burning out the frontal lobes of the brain to make them calm and more compliant to the system. And you go through other episodes. There's all sorts of other things. There's loads of psyops. We've covered the credit card thing, and the surveillance culture. There's nowhere you can go where you can't be seen. Cameras are everywhere, in the homes, on the streets, in the cafes, absolutely everywhere. And number 2 from his headquarters can switch in to everyone and see what they're doing. They can find them. So you can, and this is fast becoming the world we live in. And so that's just The Prisoner. Go and give it a look. Maybe it'll whet your appetite for more things. I mean, there's other great film and television out there which are kind of warnings to the future, as indeed this turned out to be. You think of films like Logan's Run or Demolition Man, Soylent Green. Think of it as persuade you that Soylent Green is made up of kelp from the oceans and seaweeds and stuff, and much the same way as what we're being talking about fake meat and all the rest of it. And if you've not seen the film, I won't spoil it. Go and watch it. There's a lot out there which is telling us, a bit like 1984 as well. I mean, if that wasn't a playbook for what's going on in the world now, I don't know what isn't. And I'll just leave you with a couple of quotes from The Prisoner. And these were things which were seen on the walls in the sort of the council offices. A still tongue makes a happy life. Questions are a burden to others. Answers are a prison to oneself.